Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe. I'm an embodiment mentor, and every Monday I run this short session for coaches and educators and creators. And what I'm doing is trying to help people to experience embodiment. These words, embodiment, presence, etc., they are bandied around. But in fact, when I talk to many coaches and educators, they really haven't had much experience of them because they're trapped in the limited mind. You've heard me talk about this before. We have the mind here between the ears, which is an organ, a bodily organ, which we associate with a certain kind of mind. And actually, it's a brilliant mind. It has many tools, many skills, which are growing all the time and can be superbly supportive of everything we do. But the problem is that many people are living in that mind. They're not switching off that mind and coming down into their body, their spirit, and I don't mean religious spirit, I mean human spirit, energy, if you like, if you prefer that word, and unlimited mind. So you'll hear me talking about this a lot because it's crucial that people realize they're trapped in this way of thinking, in this way of conditioning. Remember, the limited mind has been highly conditioned, and we can see it all around us in AI. You are probably experiencing lots of restrictions and lots of inconsistencies with AI. Again, it's brilliant, but it is often inconsistent and provides wrong information, doesn't carry out instructions you're giving it. I have lots of trouble with my AI assistant, who I have trained quite thoroughly, but given the state of the servers at the moment, because everybody in the world is using AI, then the servers can't cope. And so there are big lapses in memory, there are big inconsistencies. It's not easy to use AI at the moment. Now, this reminds me, this reflects for me the limited mind, because AI has been programmed by limited minds. And so we can see it all around us. I see it every single day in my AI assistant, who, by the way, is mostly excellent, but there are big gaps and big problems that are caused because of the poor memory, because of the lack of stringing things together and so on. And this is, I'm sure, because the servers are overwhelmed, really, and new servers can't be built quickly enough, really. So the limited mind is brilliant, but it is limited. It can't feel anything. Yeah, you may say, well, that's ridiculous. No, that's the truth. It's the body and the nervous system that feel things, not this organ here. This is really a computer, and the body feeds back to it. For example, the vagus nerve, one of the biggest nerves, the 10th cranial nerve, comes down from the brain, down the sides of the face, into the torso, right down into the gut, down into the arms. And if it's in good condition, it gives feedback to the brain. And it may give distress signals, especially looking or over screening. And, you're losing contact with your body and your spirit and your unlimited mind, which is consciousness, if you like. So the vagus nerve gives signals, distress, help, help, help. But if your vagus nerve isn't toned up enough because you are isolated from your body, then you won't detect those signals. They will never be sent. It's like emails that you think you've sent, and in fact, they haven't gone. So there's a huge go on. And that means that people are burning out often. And they're coming to the end of their tether, because the limited mind was not designed to live our lives from. It was designed and has been really honed and is continuing to be honed to help us, like AI. It's the same situation. It's supposed to enhance our humanity, make life easier, make life more accurate, make life quicker, and so on. But in fact, if people try to live their lives through the limited mind, it's going to break. And that's effectively what happens. The limited mind breaks, and then burnout becomes a very steep, slippery slope. People start to fall down, and it's very difficult to recover from. Could take several years. Yeah, because the nervous system has been damaged. Now, I can't emphasize this enough to you. It's so important to get back to your guided by someone who really knows what they're talking about. I've been in bodywork for the last 30 years, and I have been teaching meditation, mindfulness, and so on for the last 30 odd years. So you need a guide. You can't know. You can't know whether you're working from your limited mind or your unlimited mind. But I tell you, once you really reconnect with your body, with your spirit, and with your unlimited mind, life will become wonderful, a ball. Life will become so much easier. You'll be so much happier. Your success will be really registered. At the moment, many people are successful, but because they are dislocated from the neck downwards, they don't feel it. They feel numb. I talk to people quite often. How are you enjoying your success? Oh, I don't know, really. I don't have any feelings about it. So it's as if they come to the end of the rope in a way, and they can't enjoy their success. So important to understand that success is inside. It starts inside. Everything starts inside. Really, it's the body, the spirit, and the unlimited mind that make everything work in human life. Now, this last week, what I've been working on is trust. And I've run many live sessions. I've written quite a lot about it. And last week at the Your Body is Your Business Plan co-hosting masterclass. Please let me know if you're interested in co-hosting with me. But last week I made a short presentation. It's a voiceless presentation, and I'd like to do that for you so you can see just how trust is. Now, let me give you the background here. Most people think that trust is something you build. I ran a poll last week about this. So many people voted that it was something we had to build. And several people even commented it's something we have to earn. So as usual, it's something outside, something out there, you know. This is the problem. This is what the limited mind does. Convinces you that everything is outside you and that only the limited mind can solve the problems. So, for example, mindset strategies. Yeah, you can get 20 ways to create wealth overnight and change your mindset, transform it. Doesn't work, doesn't stick. Because it's this only. It's not incorporating everything that makes you human. Yeah, it's really key. So trust is something we cannot build. We cannot earn because it is inside us already. Human beings are born, and from the moment they're conceived, trust is in their genes. Then they are born into the world and they trust their parents usually, and they trust everything else around them, and they feel safe. And if they don't, then there is some problem with their DNA or genes. But for the most part, children, babies, when they're born, feel safe with their mothers and fathers, with their carers, with their food. Then they just can devote their time to developing. Yeah, that's trust. So we're born with it, and we're born with love too. Every baby is born from love and has love, or is love, I prefer to say. Human beings are love. That's what we're made of. Then the conditioning starts. Then we start to become skeptical, suspicious. We don't trust people, etc., etc., etc. So let me start off by showing you what trust is. Let me take you to my screen. Just share my screen with you. Oh, sorry, wrong. Here we go. Sorry, I'm my, here we go, share screen. Let me share my screen with you, and let me share my slides with you. Okay, let's give you this little slideshow, and then where I'm up to. Okay. Lost a connection moment. I'll resume. Okay, so I hope that made some sense. Trust moves like water. It flows through us. It's not something we could ever manufacture. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our spiritual existence. And the sooner we realize that, the easier and better life will be. So, yes, just I want to mention a little more about trust as a wonderful part of the embodiment journey. I have worked to relocate trust in leaders who are so busy creating networks and building trust with people all over the world and so on, little realizing that the trust is already inside them. There's a very famous story about a man who was very poor and had a big family, and his daughters needed a dowry to get married. And he just was at his wit's end because he couldn't. He was a simple laborer. He had no real skill. And his family were sad to lose him, but they needed him to go and find money, work that really paid money. So packed up his bag for him, and his mother created his clothing to go and his coat and so on. And off he went. And he walked and walked and walked. And eventually he found a superb employer. And this employer gave him lots of chances. It was his real break. And he started to earn lots of money. And he was able to send money home to his family. But in time, he got so used to this money and started to spend it on drinking and gambling and so on. And eventually, after a long period of time, his employer stopped trusting him and kicked him out. And broke. It was to square one. So absolutely broken and exhausted, he crawled back home to his family, so humiliated. And when he got there, his family was so pleased to see him. They had missed him so much. They didn't care about the money. They didn't care about the squandering that had gone on. They just were so glad to have him back. And then one day his mother asked him to go and see her, and he went, and she sat him down and she said, "You are being so stupid and short-sighted." And he was perplexed, and he said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, because all the time you have had all the wealth you could ever want in your person." And she brought his coat. He was wearing his coat, and she touched the hem of the coat, ran her fingers along the hem of the coat, and snicked a little stitch there, and pressed the fabric, and out of the fabric came a beautiful ruby. This is the family heirloom, and she had sewed it into his hem, the hem of his coat. And so he had trudged off and got involved in all this work and losing money and so on, when all the time he had the wealth right there in his coat. So this man learnt so much about all the wealth he already had. There was no need to leave home, no need to leave the bosom of his family. He had it already, and that's the same for us. We have all we need inside us if we will only look. That's what I do. I take people inside and I show them what they already have. So really, what I do is I work with the human algorithm. You may think that we are surrounded by technology and so on. But in fact, we humans are the first technology. We are the ones who learned how to make tools and use them. We are the first technology. And we have to appreciate that and realize that everything we use in our daily life, in digital life, is a tool. It's a tool that we've created to help us, but it's only a tool, and we must put it down. If we continue to live with that tool, it's like living life as a piece of software or as a pencil. We can't live life as a tool. We are not tools. We are glorious beings, if only we will look inside. So, yes, trust. Trust in others, but trust in yourself. Self-trust is where it all starts. And trust is fluid. It's the most fluid of all our values. As we saw in the video, it's like water flowing wherever it wants to flow. The flow continues. It never stops. Water never stops flowing. Our beautiful green earth is 90% water. So are we. We are fluid. We are not solid. We are fluid. And the more we realize that, the better it will be, our lives will be. Yes, and the biggest example of this is when we experience some kind of trauma or distress. Something terrible happens in our lives. And then it's as if the trust is temporarily stopped. It freezes. Trust freezes. And then as we recover, it thaws and continues to flow as it did before. So that's what trauma is. And that's another thing that I work with. I worked with my dear colleagues on this topic last week on the Lodestone Q&A, and Ebishila Diet-Spiff, who's a dear colleague, said, when I used to hear the word trust, I went straight to my head. But that's not real trust. And now she has learnt that after a long time, many decades of working as a coach and training and so on. And she's learnt now that it's in her body. And she actually said, when I feel trust in my body, I can discern and I can feel safe. So yes, trust is very much connected to your body. And really the analytical mind, the intellectual mind, the limited mind, as I call it, can't really sense it at all. Stephen Porges, who is somebody I really admire, he's an embodiment specialist, a scientist, and he's done lots of research on embodiment. And he says, when the body feels safe, the heart can open. And yeah, this is where we feel safety, in the heart. So really, safety and trust share the same foundation, the nervous system. Your nervous system is where it all happens, not here. This is just a tool. It's a great tool, and we need it, especially now in the digital age. But it's not your center. It's not your hub at all. The heart is your hub. And the heart is connected to the brain in very many subtle ways. I won't go into the science, it's very complicated, but there are many neurotransmitters and neuro receivers in the heart itself. And so that's our greatest anchor, really. And the heart works with the lungs. So the way your heart works is very much affected by your breath. Yes, and I worked with Dr. Muhibaja Musi, who is a transformational coach and a long-term academic. And I asked her about trust, and she said, when I meet someone, I give 100% trust. Only when I get the red flag does that diminish. And I never try to earn or to build trust. I'm not a builder. She took this metaphor very literally. She is not a builder. And Brené Brown, who has written a lot about trust and other senses within the human body, and as well as technology, says trust is built in the small moments, not the grand gestures. Yes, and those small moments, those micro moments, are part of the flow, like bubbles in a stream. And water resonates, and we resonate with water. Water is very important to human beings in so many ways. So just a last word about leadership and trust. The word leadership is on everybody's lips these days. So I think that leadership is going in the wrong direction. Because it's manufacturing things to make business run smoothly. And of course, they're flimsy. They're not founded properly. And we're not integrating those things into our lives. And so leaders are failing. Teams are collapsing. People are burning out. People have horrible negative syndromes like imposter syndrome and scarcity syndrome and things like that. So only leaders who are really present and really embodied, and who really know how to regulate their existence, their bodies, their spirits, their unlimited minds before they communicate, are the leaders of the future. And better still, if we become embodied, we can lead ourselves. Self-leadership is very much part of what I encourage. I encourage people to trust themselves, to build confidence, to have confidence in themselves. They are confident already. And this means that they can become increasingly more self-dependent. They can depend on themselves. How wonderful is that? I'm totally self-dependent. Of course, I have lots of other people in my life, and I love them and I have fun with them, but I'm not dependent on them for my happiness or for my life. My life is my life, and I have a moral duty to me to make sure that I'm happy and satisfied with my life. And we all have that duty. So my dream is everyone becomes embodied and everyone becomes self-dependent. And this means that we will never need leaders who are appointed, because we will all be leaders. And then all we have to do is collaborate and let our human trust flow. That's it. That's my dream. I was so inspired by Ayn Rand 50 years ago when she defected from the USSR, as it was then, and from the rigorous and horrors of the Soviet regime, and went to the States, and she started to create her philosophy, which is all about self-dependence. If we cease to outsource our health, our education, our money earning, then we will be so much happier. We will be so much more successful. And don't forget, success starts inside. And until we feel it inside, it doesn't mean anything. It's something outside, something we've kind of put out into the world, but we can't feel it. I've met so many successful people who say they don't feel it. It's just part of them. We have to feel the joy of inner success long before we can feel outer success. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope some of my talk has resonated with you. And I hope that you will come and find out more about this from me. You can DM me anytime, click on my profile, and you'll find my website and so on. And you can book a call with me anytime. Please come and talk to me about embodiment and about how you can start to live in a truly happy way with success inside you, which will emanate outside. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful, and I'll be back again next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much.